Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of our beautiful Chautauqua County, welcome to the 44th Annual Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame Induction Banquet. Also, I want to thank those of you who have traveled a distance to be here with us this evening. I thank you for your commitment and your support as well. Yes, this is the middle of February, but I promise you that spring is lurking around the corner. I just don't know which corner that is. The signs of spring are emerging. What a beautiful weekend we just had. It makes you think of spring for sure. Yesterday, the NASCAR season kicked off running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, which incidentally was won by Tyler Reddick. And according to our Wikipedia of Jamestown, Randy Anderson, Tyler Reddick raced in 2012 at State Line Speedway. All right. Believe it or not. Yeah. Also, Major League Baseball training camps opened up this week, pitchers and catchers, and they'll all be in full swing next week. Locally, high school basketball, wrestling, winter sports are coming to an end, playoffs are starting, and things are winding down, getting ready for the spring schedule. Soon we'll see warmer days, and the snow will melt. Baseball and softball fields will again be full. Yes, spring is just around the corner. The mission statement of the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame is to honor and preserve the sports history of Chautauqua County. And tonight is truly going to be a special event for all of us as we enshrine 8 new inductees into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, known as the Class of 2026. All 8 inductees, all of you, can attest to the fact that your success was no accident. It was hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, you loved what you were doing, and it brought you much success. In the words of the great New York Yankee captain Derek Jeter, there may be people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do. You certainly have emulated that statement, and our congratulations to each of you. To Kenny Betts, Jennifer Gibner Donato, the family of the late Dr. Carl Englert, Brianne Prince Hazelton, Trevor Hitchcock, Brian Hull, Carrie Kellogg, and the family of the late Dan Wolf. Congratulations on your awesome achievements, and welcome to each of you as a class of 2026. At this time, I would ask all that are able to please rise as we honor America as Julie Jaffe sings our national anthem, and also remain standing for our invocation, which will be led by Pastor Creech from the First Presbyterian Church in Jamestown, who incidentally is an All-American powerlifter himself, winning several gold, silver, and bronze medals in raw powerlifting competition. So he's new to the area, but he fits right in on a night just like this. Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Pastor, come right up.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you all and an honor, truly. My friends, let us join our hearts in prayer. Almighty and gracious God, we are so grateful for the profound gift of being embodied creatures, of using our God-given abilities to grow in skill and hone our craft, to test our mettle, and to grow not just physically, but spiritually and mentally. Lord, we thank you for the gift of competition, for the gifts that you have endowed each of us, especially those who we honor and induct tonight, and how we are able to use those gifts all for your glory. May you continue to bless us and sanctify us through our training and sport, and bless this food that we are about to eat, that it may not only nourish our bodies, but that it may be fuel for our minds and our spirits, just as you sustain our very life, even in our very breath. I pray all of this in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, folks, I trust that everybody's been well fed. We'll continue on with our program. I think the first thing we should do is give an honorable mention and an applause to the staff, bartenders, waitresses, kitchen crew of the Lakewood Rod and Gun Club. Also tonight, we're on live TV. The crew from CCS, Children's Collaborative Solutions, is here. This is being filmed live, and they're over in the corner there. They have business cards. It'll be shown on their Facebook page and their web page. So if you want to go home and next week or whatever and watch this, and some other family members that aren't able to be here, they'll be able to watch it. So we're on live TV, and thanks to them. You know, we live in a great county here in Chautauqua County, down tucked into the little corner of New York State. It was proven this weekend with so many things going on. Fire and Ice had thousands of people. Mayville's Winterfest had thousands of people with the Ice Castle, everything that was going on, and it was blessed with good weather. And our county executive, P.J. Wendell, had to be so proud to represent us. So I bring to the microphone the county executive for Chautauqua County, P.J. Wendell.
Well, thank you, Chip, and truly it is an honor to be here tonight. There's a couple of things that people are excited about. A politician that says I'm going to be short, or one that has a problem with his voice. So we will keep this short. But as Chip said, it was great. I was at Fire and Ice on Friday night. I was at the Ice Castle on Saturday. It was an amazing event. And I couldn't be more proud. I was once criticized when I openly said that I'm the biggest cheerleader in Chautauqua County. Well, that's one of the jobs I do. But more importantly, when I look out and see those new inductees, I see some of the people that have already been inducted, and what a true honor it is to be among you tonight. You know, when I was a kid, I only heard of the legendary feats of Brian Hull. Obviously, I was not a cross-country runner. So you would just hear things from Mr. Priester about what a phenomenal athlete he is. And you listen, Kenny Betts. You know, Kenny was a little kid running around at wrestling tournaments when I first started coaching. You know, he was sweaty as all get out, and I'm thinking, man, this kid is just a terror. And boy, he proved it for the next 5 years when he was in high school and wrestled and had a phenomenal career. And Kerry Kellogg, you know, he's very unassuming. You'll see him walking his German Shepherd through Lakewood anytime. He probably doesn't think I know that. But you know, the people we have here, you are the history of Chautauqua County. I will have to say, when I was just graduating college, I was a one-time All-American. I thought that was great. I look out at Sheldon Battle, I think he racked up 12. And then Trevor Hitchcock, when I just got out, I knew he went to Faulkner. And then, All-American, national champ. It's like, my goodness gracious, these guys are phenomenal. So I am proud. I'm proud of each and every one of you. All of the inductees tonight, you are part of Chautauqua County history. When you walk down 3rd Street this year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you'll bring your kids and your grandkids in here. In the famous words of Leroy Smith in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, you are now amongst the legends. You live where the legends live, and the legends of Chautauqua County are honored to have you join them. I am so excited on behalf of myself and the residents of the county. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Well deserved. And I better not forget Breanne Prince because, you know, Breanne was tough as nails. I thought Billy was tough. I think Breanne bar none had Billy beat. So again, congratulations on everybody going in tonight. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Thank you, PJ. Any successful team, organization, or business relies on good communication and collaboration between its members as a key to its success. The product or service that is rendered is only as good as the team behind it. But finding ways to inspire your team to communicate, share ideas, and solve problems together isn't always easy to do. Teamwork is a secret that makes common people achieve uncommon goals. The Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame and its board of directors is pleased to have a leader who goes far and above, more than any of you will ever know, to ensure the continued success of this organization. Our president, Randy Anderson, has led this group called the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame for the past 15 years and has taken us to heights we could never have imagined. I can honestly say that the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame would not be where it is today without Randy's leadership. Not only in the thousands of hours he spends in the office, but his knowledge of sports is unmatched. They say that a leader must inspire or his team will expire. I know about that. Well, Randy certainly is an inspiration to all of us as board members and to this entire community. We are proud to serve alongside of him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our president, Randy Anderson.
Thanks for the kind words, Chip. I very much appreciate it. I want to sincerely thank each and every person in this room tonight for attending. We appreciate the wonderful level of support that we receive. This has been another great year for the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. In terms of 280 local businesses and friends that support the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame by purchasing an ad in our souvenir program booklet. Please take this book home with you tonight. There's lots of information in here about our inductees, about our history, and about the 280 businesses from Chautauqua County that support this organization. Whenever possible, please support those that support us. I'd like to call your attention to the table sponsors that are in front of me tonight. These recognized leaders in our community deserve your thanks and your patronage for their commitment to the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to recognize Schultz Auto Group, Tim Schultz. Matrix, Rick Turner. Legend Group and Deppes Insurance, Lou Deppes. DNS Glass Service, Mike Latone. Great Lakes Physicians Practice, Dr. John Lamancuso. Lind Funeral Home, Gary Kinberg. Lakeshore Paving, Mark Lindstrom. The Post-Journal, Mike Bird. Jamestown Macadam, Tom Olson. And our county executive, PJ Wendell. How about a big round of applause for our table sponsors? I'd like to thank our friends that donated items for the raffle that we held just a few minutes ago. Those people are Greg Peterson, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, Mark Tremuta of the Toronto Blue Jays, Chicago Bears tight end Steve Carlson, Nick Sirianni, coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Erie Seawolves baseball team, the Main Landing Restaurant in Celeron, and Ball Game Heroes on 3rd Street in Jamestown. Appreciate each and every one of you for your contributions to our raffle. The Sports Hall of Fame maintains a museum at 15 West 3rd Street in Jamestown. To keep the museum open to the public Monday through Friday, noon to 3, we rely on a dedicated group of volunteers. Those volunteers are listed on page 13 of your program book. I want to thank our volunteers for their selfless efforts and ask that those volunteers who are present here tonight stand up and receive our thanks. Volunteers. On a night when we are welcoming 8 new inductees into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, it's important to remember those who came before. First, with a moment of silence, let us honor our cherished inductees who died in the past calendar year. Ellie Norton and Como Tane, as well as our late board member, Joe DeMeo. And also, let us remember family members and friends that we have lost in the past year. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Secondly, we have many past inductees in the room tonight. We very much appreciate them being here to welcome the new members of this exclusive fraternity. Please stand when I call your name. Anthony Barone. Sheldon Battle. Cal Cedarquist. Alex Conti. Andy Krieger. Dave Crashone. Skip Furlow. Bob Gould. Kay Gould. Frank Jagoda. Bruce Johnson. Scott Kinberg. Sammy Lamancuso. Aaron Leeper. Dan Palmer. Dave Paulchetti. Tom Priester. Bill Race. Bill Rollinger. Mike Sayers. Fran Siriani. Jay Siriani. Mike Tremuta. And Mark Weaver. Thirdly, we have family members here tonight representing our deceased inductees. First, Greg Bender, representing his father, Bob Bender. Judy Swanson, for her father, Bill Present. Sally Gregory, for her father, Lori Ledestro. Mary Keeney, for her husband, Jack Keeney. Lori Lassen, for her father, Jim Adamczak. Chip Johnson, for his grandmother, Kate Linder. And Keith Martin, for his father, Kenny Martin. At this time, I'd like to ask the honored athletes listed on page 31 of the program book to assemble in the bar area with Jay Sirianni and Tammy Ray. So our honored athletes, please assemble in the bar area. I want to recognize my fellow officers and our board of directors who are listed on page 9 in your program book. They are an all-volunteer group that serves faithfully without compensation. I want to thank my fellow officers and the board of directors for their time, effort, and money that they contribute to the success of this organization. Please, all the board members who are here tonight, please stand up and be recognized. All the board members. Much of the credit for the success of tonight's program falls on the shoulders of our banquet chairman, Chip Johnson. Chip has handled this job magnificently for the past 37 years. 37 years for Chip. And I'd like to echo Chip's comments to Denny Glagora and the board of directors and the staff of the Lakewood Rod and Gun Club for their excellent service tonight. We enjoy the partnership that we have with the Lakewood Rod and Gun Club. And again, I'd like to recognize Patrick Smeraldo, Justin Gould, and the entire crew from CCS TV, who are live broadcasting tonight's events across their various social media platforms. Again, thank you for your kind attention, and I'll turn the microphone back over to Chip.
Thank you, Randy. The Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame has a tradition of recognizing many local athletes, and we consider it a privilege and an honor and a top priority to do so. Along with our 8 inductees, whose accomplishments have been well documented, tonight we will recognize 18 individual athletes who have attained national and state recognition for their individual performances. These young athletes have certainly spent many hours in practice and preparation and have been given a solid foundation in which to succeed. So athletes, as you receive your award this evening, I give you these words. Life will always throw you curveballs. Just keep fouling them off. The right pitch will come, and when it does, be prepared to run the bases. Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. So congratulations to the following outstanding athletes. I would ask that you hold your applause till all are introduced. From Maple Grove, cross-country team, Ethan Verboski, New York State Class D, first team All-State, and also was named an All-American this year. Chase Haglin, Frewsburg Bears Baseball, New York State Class C First Team All-State. Representing Chase is his father, Eric Haglund, coach of the Frewsburg Bears. Anthony Gatto, Brockton Bulldog Baseball, New York State Class D First Team All-State. Representing Southwestern Frewsburg Football, New York State Class C First Team All-State, Zach Markham. Also representing Southwestern Frewsburg Football, New York State Class C First Team All-State, Roger Markham. Representing the Gowanda Pine Valley football team, New York State Class D First Team All-State, Winter Mentley Peters. From the Chautauqua Lake Westfield Brockton football team, New York State Class C First Team All-State, Carson Fairbank. Representing Chautauqua Lake Westfield Brockton football, New York State Class C First Team All-State, Asher Olson. Representing the IPL World Powerlifting Championships, this individual won a raw power gold medal, a master's bench only gold medal, and an open bench only gold medal, Christy Metz from Dunkirk, New York.
Wow. Nice job.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. That was good going, bad boys in the food. This way, Christy.
Heading up I-90, representing SUNY Brockport football. He was named Empire 8 Football Conference 2025 All-American, Julian McGoy.
Raider pride.
Representing Chautauqua Lakers Special Olympics softball team. They received a gold medal in the New York State Fall Games for 2025. Also, I want to bring up them Ray Fuller, Chautauqua Lake Special Olympics softball, a gold medal in the Fall Games competition, and Gene Spruce, Chautauqua Lakers Special Olympics gold medal in the skills competition for the Fall Games. Bring all those up together representing the Chautauqua Lakers Special Olympics. Yep. Yeah.
Spruce?
Yep. Take Gene's too. Certainly deserving. Thank you. Heading up to the North County, representing the State University of New York at Fredonia, cross-country team, 2025 State University of New York Athletic Conference cross-country state champion for 2025, Stephen Hallberg. Also, we have several individuals. That's it, Jay, right? Oh, Braden, I'm sorry. Got it. Representing Southwestern Frewsburg football, New York State Class C First Team All-State, Braden Fuller. We also have three individuals that could not be with us this evening, but I think we should mention them from the podium. Raven Sample was a USA Track and Field Para National Championship gold medal. Emma Lewis from Southwestern Cross Country was first team All-State for Class C, and Matt Redlecki, representing Clymer Sherman Panama football, was Class C first team All-State. As a matter of fact, Ty Harper, where are you? Ty, would you please come? Never mind. I gave Matt his plaque on Saturday when I saw him, so we're all good. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the 18 outstanding athletes from this past year. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to introduce the class of 2026. Kenny Betts was born in 1990 and began his wrestling career at the ripe age of 4 years old. His varsity wrestling career at Fredonia Central began in the 7th grade, where he wrestled at the 96 weight class and recorded a 31-10 record with 15 pins as a 7th grader. This started an amazing career as the most successful high school wrestler in Chautauqua County. He was a Section 6 champion every year from 8th grade to his senior year in 2009. As an 8th grader, his record was 40-6, 29 pins, and he competed in the New York State tournament for the first of 5 consecutive years. As a freshman, he went 43-9 and won his first New York State championship in 2007, and as a 10th grader, going 48-6 with 39 pins. As a junior for the Hillbillies, he compiled a 50-3 record with 38 pins and was runner-up in the state finals. His senior year was one for the record books as he garnered a 57-3 record, 39 pins on his way to earning his second New York State championship, and was also named an All-American honorable mention. His high school career finished with a state record of 269-34. Even though wrestling was his top priority in high school, Kenny was also an outstanding football player and pole vaulter at Fredonia Central School. But his wrestling accomplishments are what are making him an inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Kenny was inducted into the Western New York Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2017, and tonight I am pleased to introduce Kenny Betts as a 2026 inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame.
I'll let Kenny speak and then I'll do this. Knock him down, Kenny.
Thank you. Congrats. Thank you. Well, looks like I'm the first one to speak. First of all, I want to thank the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame for me getting inducted, and the directors, everybody on board, and also the other inductees getting in as well. This is truly an honor being recognized with all the greats that's already been in it. So I do surely, I'm very humble and I appreciate it, guys. First of all, I want to say if seeing me as a 4-year-old PJ, as a sweaty little kid running around, hey, my son is the same way right now. So he sweats just like I do. So with that being said, to be the 5th wrestler to ever be inducted into the Chautauqua Hall of Fame is also, I'm amazed. It's also truly honored in that aspect too. Greats like Jim Beekner, who was one wrestler, Alex Conti, Marty Nichols, and Carlene Slaburski, all being wrestlers. And to be the 5th one, I'm, again, truly honored. But there's no way I could have done all this by myself. I needed a village, and I had a very big village that supported me in the past. And I brought that little village, some of it, with me. with that being said, being a wrestler, you know, you would have to have the will, determination, you know, all that good stuff just to wrestle. It's hard work, and not everybody could do it. But with my friends, teammates, and coaches all behind my back, it made it a lot easier to be successful in my career. So, first off, I want to thank my coaches, not only in high school, but in all stages of life. And I wouldn't have been the athlete that I was. Coaches such as Greg Sherlock, you know, pushing me as harder than anybody else that he would push, and that was just in midget league football, just to start off. In middle school, I had another two great coaches, Dwayne Davis and Wayne Valentine. You know, they taught me it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the fight and the size of the dog. And I took that to heart, because I sure wasn't one of the biggest football players out on the football field. I was probably one of the smallest, but that didn't stop me. One of the other coaches that I looked up to, and unfortunately he's not here with us today, is Jack Larson. He taught me how to pole vault. You know, and one of his funniest things that he would actually tell me was, you know, you just got to imagine that there's a girl at the top of the pole. Just keep, you just, and that always stuck with me. You know, if you're going up, you got to be looking up. So that's, he but, you know, back in the day, he actually brought in Jen Szynski, or her married name, Jen Scher, the Olympic pole vaulter, women's pole vaulter. So she came in and showed us a thing or two, even pole vaulted the one time. Truly amazed. So another fun fact about Jack Larson is he never knew anybody's name. He would always call his athletes, "Hey, Fuzzy, come over here," or "Hey, Squirrel." The never knew who he was talking to. Then for football in high school, I had Coach Bob Ball. He was one of my favorite football coaches ever playing for. And the one year, some of you might even know Coach Krenzer. He came in as a defensive coach. Didn't think that I was going to start on defense just because of my size. But again, the size of the dog, you know, But after our one scrimmage, I had to prove to him that I belonged, and I ended up starting as a nose tackle on the defensive line. So those coaches really helped me throughout the years. I really look up to. But the two coaches that I really wanted to talk about that helped me through wrestling is Alex Conti and my father, Greg Betts. These two coaches were the best coaches that anybody could ever ask for. It was the reason why I was so successful in my career. Even though it was more like a good cop, bad cop, you never knew what Alex you were going to get that day. As in, oh, well, now you got to do 10 cycles. Those were never fun. But he would, you know, during a little match, he would tell me a move to hit. Never even practice it in my entire career. Practice it during a little tournament, and I actually use it in a finals. He adapts on the fly, teaches us. He even went down to the Olympic Training Center and bring back all the moves and exercises, which meant the practice were definitely not easy coming from the Olympic Training Center. We also had a ton of kids coming out through wrestling, probably because he was the coach or the gym teacher, which everybody was probably petrified to say no. But we had about 60 kids per year just trying out. For my dad, I don't know if he would ever coached in Fredonia until the one day Alex Conti called him up. It's like, hey, if I move over to New York from California, would you coach with me? He was like, oh, yeah, okay. If you move over to New York from California, yeah, I'll start coaching. And shortly you notice him moving in from California, and I'm starting to wrestle at 4 years old. So, another thing that I want to thank my dad for is honestly the 500 push-ups and sit-ups that he made me do every day right before bed, which I had to do right next to him while he was sitting. So, all right. So I had to make sure. Every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, waking up, bringing my best friends with me, Caleb Paleo, Chris Conti, and Corey King, who are also with me today. So, but first one I want to thank is Caleb. He has been with me through thick and thin, and he's been with me, we were inseparable pairs. Got to the point where even if he was ever grounded, he would always be able to come to my house just because his mom knew that he was going to be in check when he came over. And he would actually also do the 500 push-ups and sit-ups with me, which didn't suck afterwards. Another one that I wanted to thank is my wrestling partner, was Chris Conti. Also called him my shake and bake partner. Before every match, we would, do a little shake and bake, fist bump right before every match. We were best friends. We were the best wrestling partners. We did everything together. It's hard to find somebody that kept up with you through every practice, even though we made each other bleed every practice. So, Chris, I want to thank you for all those years of helping me, being my partner through thick and thin, even when practices sucked. So thank you. When Chris left for college, it left a big void in my practices. But Chris Conti's dad, which is Alex, ended up looking out and got this older guy named Joe Santilli. He came into practices, ended up wrestling, being my wrestling partner every day. Got to the point where he ended up scaring me because he liked the pain so much. But I know Joe Santilli's not here right now, or today. My bad, I should have said that a little better. He's not here today with us. But that's another guy that I wanted to thank as well. And unfortunately, he's not. So, like I said before, it takes a whole village. And my next guest that I would like to thank is someone that not only supported me, but the entire community. Made sure that every athlete that was successful and had a great stat line or record, he made sure the whole community would know about it. And also gave plaques and rewards after. And that is Dan Palmer. You give these athletes, you make them so excited and willing and wanted to do better in their sports just to get recognized on the radio at WDOE. And I don't think just myself, but the whole community appreciates you. So thank you. And lastly, and most important of all, I'd like to thank my family. My family has supported me through everything. Obviously, my dad, for teaching me every sport that I did and being my biggest supporter. My mom, always being there, even though we had to send her at the top of the bleachers the one time for reasons I can't say here. It might have been some four-letter words that she might have said. All right? But maybe that's where I got my competitive edge from. My brother always beating me up every day, even getting me tougher, even though he was 100 pounds more than I was. My sister, even though she's not here today, for being at every match that I had. My wife, Stacy, she is my biggest supporter, taking care of me and both kids. Even when I went through a major injury, she was there, helping me through thick and thin, even when I wasn't able to do anything. She is the one that I trust the most. And she is the one that usually tells everybody about my stats, not even myself. If anybody even knows about any of my accolades, it wasn't from me. It was either from Stacy, my dad, or Alex. And I think they know more about my records than I even do. So at the bottom of my heart, I am truly honored to be inducted into the Chautauqua Hall of Fame, and congratulations to the other inductees. Thank you.
Stay here a minute, Kenny.
All right.
Good job, Kenny. Nice speech.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So each inductee will receive a ring, a plaque. There is a duplicate plaque at the Sports Hall of Fame, as well as certificates of recognition from Senator George Borrello, Assemblyman Andrew Molitor, and County Executive P.J. Wendell. Here you go, Kenny.
Great job.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks again.
You're welcome, pal.
Next, we have Jennifer Gibner Donato, a 1992 graduate of Dunkirk High School. She was an outstanding athlete for the Marauders on the basketball court and the softball field. Although she will tell you straight up that she hated running as a conditioning program, but as the years went by, that all changed at the age of 35 when she started running for some exercise. It was then that she entered her first marathon in Las Vegas just to see how she would do, and to come to find out she loved running and wanted to improve her times. It's amazing how your outlook on something can change when you want to do it, as opposed to having to do it. Jennifer was the first woman in the world to complete 4 Abbott World Marathon majors, consisting of 6 26-mile races held in Tokyo, Boston, London, Chicago, Berlin, and New York. And in 2018 was the first woman to complete all 6 Abbott majors in the same year. She now has 61 marathons to her credit. She has competed in Tokyo 4 times, Boston 11 times, London 7 times, Berlin 4 times, Chicago 8 times, and the New York City Marathon 11 times. She had the privilege of representing the United States at the Sydney, Australia Marathon in 2024, coupled with 5 Abbott races. It has earned her membership into the Abbott World Marathon Major 7 Stars Hall of Fame. And tonight I am pleased to introduce Jennifer Gibner Donato as a member of the class of 2026.
First, I want to say thank you for recognizing me and having me here. It's going to be a little bit more of a difficult night for me. My mom passed away 2 days ago. So she was so happy for me and wanted me to be here. up until last week, she was still telling the doctors about all my marathoning and how wonderful I was and all the good things about me. And the doctor's shaking my hand, oh, I know somebody famous. So she would talk to anybody that would listen about how wonderful I was. And growing up, listening to the previous story about childhood, and I think our parents are just there and dedicated. My dad he was the athlete of the family, and he would take me over to the college, and we'd run up and down the hills. I didn't love running, and I have coaches here that can testify to that. It was, like I said, when I was 35, I did a marathon for fun and thought, well, I think I ran a 4:32, and Oprah ran a 4:30. I'm like, there's no way that Oprah can run faster than me. I have to do better. So the next year, I had thought about, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to get myself together and do a program of my own. So I got on the internet. I found a program, and I had my husband take me that morning. We drove up to Erie, Pennsylvania. I didn't know how I was going to do. The previous one was 4:32. I crossed at 3:27 this time, so I bettered my time by an hour. And the woman came over to me and she goes, do you know that you just qualified for Boston? And I said, I had no idea. And that kind of lit the flame in me. So I ran the Boston Marathon in 2012. That was my first major. And after that, I decided that I want to run them all. I knew Boston was the big one, and then New York was the next big one on my list. Until that time, I had never traveled out of the country besides Canada. I'd never been to New York City. So when I went to New York City, I went for the first time to do the marathon, and that was in 2013. I got to Times Square, and I said to the cop, where's Times Square? He's like, you're here, baby. So I had no idea, the big lights and all that. So I just felt like a little girl in this, learning all about the world. And after I did New York, I had met a girl, and we both wanted to do our first 6-star. And at that time, there were less than 2,000 people in the world that had the Abbott 6-star medal. So that was a big deal for us because we had never traveled. And here we did Boston and New York, and now we're going to go to Berlin and London and Tokyo. And we did it. We went and we earned our first 6-star medal in 2017 together. And after I earned that first 6-star medal, I thought, what can I do now? That was such a big deal. I wanted another goal. And so in 2018, I thought, why not do them all in 1 year? And it's not just signing up. You have to qualify for the races. And so I qualified, and I entered all the races. And when I ran Tokyo in 2018, I qualified for Tokyo 2019. So I thought, well, how can I not go back to Tokyo again? So that was my third Abbott 6-star medal. When I received my third Abbott 6-star medal, I was the first woman in the world to have done that. So that was pretty incredible to me. After that, I had met a girl at the local gym, and we had actually gone to high school together, and we got talking, and she was like, oh, you run, I run, maybe we can run together. And I'm like, oh, I don't really like running with people, but okay. And we were pretty much similar, so then I started talking her into the Abbott series, and we completed her first in my fourth last March. So I have 4 now. I don't know if I'm finished or not, but they are very addicting to me. And this year I'll be representing the United States in Cape Town, Africa. So that'll be coming in May, and I'll be representing my age group out of all the countries in the world. So it makes me proud to be able to represent. I never thought I'd be, in this position, but running became a big part of my life. And, my mom, I wish she was here because the night that Randy called me, I can remember, she hasn't been healthy for a while, but I called my dad right after I got off the phone with Randy, and I told him, and I could hear my mom in the background saying, she was so happy, and then she normally wouldn't call, and all of a sudden I got a call back, and it said Mom on the phone, and she's like, I'm going to be there with you on that night, and she really couldn't get around, so she's like, I want you to be there. I can't wait. And she kept talking about it, even up until last week when she was in the hospital. I want to be there with you. And the night before she passed away, I said I didn't want to come. I couldn't be here. And she said, I'll be there with you. You need to go. So, just want to say, I'm dedicating this award to my mom tonight, but I can't really see, so I don't even know. My eyes. First, I want to thank all of you here for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I really can't see right now, I'm sorry. Being inducted into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame is an absolute honor, and honestly, something I never imagined when I first laced up my running shoes. To be recognized in a place that shaped who I am among so many athletes I admire is both humbling and deeply meaningful. Running has given me so much more than finish lines or times on a clock. It has taught me discipline, resilience, patience, and belief, especially on the days when belief was hard to find. Like most journeys we're taking, mine was never a straight line. There were setbacks, injuries, disappointments, and moments of doubt. But there were also breakthroughs, joys, unforgettable memories, and a community that supported me and never let me quit. I want to thank my family first. Your unwavering support through early mornings, long runs, travel, missed holidays, and countless races have meant everything to me. You believed in me even when I didn't always believe in myself. Your encouragement, sacrifices, and love carried me through the toughest miles, and I would not be here tonight without you. To my friends, thank you for cheering me on, tracking races, showing up at finish lines, and celebrating every moment, big or small. You reminded me that running is never just an individual sport. The miles are easier, and the victories are sweeter when they're shared. I remember when I first started running, I would walk a little bit with my husband at night, and we would see runners, and I'd say, now that's a real runner. And I would always say that when I saw a runner, and then he said to me, what are you? And I'm like, he's like, I don't see them earning all these 6 stars. So it was funny that I would always say that to him, and he, I never felt like a real runner. I guess I look at other runners and think, wow, that's a real runner. So it's hard to kind of get in my mind sometimes that I am too. I also want to thank my coaches, mentors, teammates, and running community that surround me throughout my career. You pushed me to be better, held me accountable, and reminded me why I fell in love with this sport in the first place. Chautauqua County has always been my home, and the sport I feel here followed me wherever running took me. I would also like to thank Pine Valley Central School District, where I've been employed for 26 years. Their unwavering support and encouragement throughout my journey has meant so much to me. Sharing stories and cultural experiences from my travels with my students has been one of the greatest joys of my career. This honor is not just a reflection of my effort, but of everyone who ran beside me literally and figuratively along the way. From training partners and teammates to family, friends, and mentors, each person played a crucial role in pushing me forward, lifting me up, and celebrating each milestone. I would not be standing here today without the constant support and belief. My advice to anyone chasing a goal, whether it's in sports or in life, keep showing up, trust the process, lean on your people, and never underestimate how far persistence and heart can carry you. Thank you again, Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, for this wonderful recognition. I am truly grateful, honored, and proud to be a part of this legacy. And congratulations to all the other inductees tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
That was awesome. I love you. You did such a good job.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Oh, all my other stuff too. Thank you.
As Jen makes her way back to her seat, Jennifer, just know that not only do the 280 people in this room support you and praying for you, the whole county of Chautauqua that represents you is thinking of you, and you never walk that path alone. Just remember that. Dr. Carl Englert Jr., better known throughout his adult life as Doc Englert. He was born in Buffalo in 1935, graduated from Bishop Timon High School and the State University of New York at Buffalo Dental School. Doc was an outstanding athlete in high school and college, playing golf and basketball, and was selected as a team captain at each level. In 1950, Carl won the Buffalo District Golf Association junior title, and in 1951, the Western New York Catholic League Championship, the same year qualifying for the USGA National Junior Championship. As a member of the UB golf team, he played in the NCAA National Championships in 55, 56, and in 58 qualified for the National Amateur Golf Tournament. Altogether, during the 50s, Carl won the Buffalo District Golf Association Junior Championship, the BDGA Individual Championship, the BDGA Father-Son Championship, and the BDGA Team Championship. Following graduation from dental school, he served 2 years as a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy before starting his dental practice here in Lakewood, New York in 1963. Never giving up his passion for the links, Doc won the BDGA Individual Championship in 1964, the Western New York Amateur Championship in both 65 and 66, and played in the U.S. Amateur Tournament in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 65. He was a 3-time club champion at Maplehurst, a 6-time club champion at Moonbrook, and a member of the Moonbrook team that won the BDGA Team Championship in 67, 75, and 76. In 2000, after filling cavities in the Lakewood area for 37 years, he and his wife Marlene moved to Florida. And yes, still competing in the sport he loved, winning the Senior Division Tiger Point Golf Club Championship in Florida. Sadly, Doc passed away in 2013, but tonight I am pleased to accept Dr. Carl Englert Jr. as a member of the class of 2026, and accepting for him and the Englert family is his daughter, Kyle Herr.
It is an honor to stand here and represent my father, Dr. Carl J. Englert Jr., Doc, in his induction tonight into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. I am Kyle Englert, her oldest daughter, my brother Mike, my sister Mary Beth, Dad's oldest granddaughter Emily, my husband Paul, Dad's brother-in-law David, and nieces, nephews are also here. Mom couldn't make the trip, but she's with us still. We can't wait to tell her about tonight. This is a perfect night, being here in the backdrop of Chautauqua Lake, just missing Dad. But he's smiling on us, I'm sure. Thank you, Randy, the entire board, and everyone who makes this event possible. My father would find it humbling and beautiful that his friends nominated him, and to be among all the past athletes, and to be one of this year's class being inducted tonight. Maybe that's Dad. Somebody. A huge thank you to Scott Johnson and others who believe that my father's accomplishments deserve to be honored in this way. This award has been a huge team effort. My dad would thank all his friends and family that helped him along the way. As we thought about these remarks and gathered thoughts from family members and friends, one thing came to the forefront. Our dad had the utmost respect for the game of golf, and he believed integrity and the character were essential to all sports, and he indeed in all life. Our father was a dentist, and he would tell a joke. What's a dentist's favorite time? Tooth hurty. Of course. Of course, he wanted probably to say when the workday ends, so he could put down the dental tools and pick up the tools of his other job, golf. As a dentist, Dad made his living with his hands, but his hands also made him a great athlete. With Doc, it was no coincidence that a dental office is called a practice. He would leave one practice at the end of the workday and head out to the other course for the second practice. He would be the first to say that nothing could be accomplished without hard work, done intentionally and to the best of one's ability. Our dad was a lifelong student of golf, and he bought and borrowed and researched and countless books in the pursuit of bettering his game and thus himself. Friend and fellow golfer Greg Bender, who's here tonight, remembers Dad saying that he would someday need to change up his swing since age brings decreasing flexibility and strength. So he worked at it. I think that is one thing he would tell us. Never give up on yourself. Rather seek out masters of their craft and be humble enough to learn from them. And always, always be willing to share your own knowledge as well. He loved all sports, and as a family, we valued the lessons that sports revealed to us. Discipline and dedication and persistence. But he lived that sentiment also. An example would be when we were growing up in Lakewood, he would drag us out to Packard Field to shag balls while he practiced his irons. Over and over again. Scott Johnson shared a couple of memories which I would like to relay now. So you have to pretend I'm Scott right now, because these are his words. Doc, like most of the inductees, was very competitive. The first time I ever saw him was in the 1970s at the YMCA in a very spirited 3-on-3 basketball game where losers sat and the winners held court. A middle-aged man came into the gym one night. He was wearing a basketball uniform and had his own official NBA basketball. That would be my dad. Finally, Doc got his chance to play. He boxed me out, and wow, I ended up on Pine Street. He then started with the hook shots. 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet in a row, he could play. Yeah. Scott continued his reminiscing, and I'll end with this one. Most of the time, we played golf in a threesome late in the day. The threesome being me, Doc, and Arnie Palmer. Arnie Palmer being my 7-pound Pomeranian dog. One night, we were out in the middle of nowhere playing the hill course at Chautauqua. On the 9th tee, a kid came running up the fairway yelling that there was a pack of wild dogs on the next hole. Dad looked at me and said, "I'll carry Arnie." He was such a loyal friend. This was a quality that comes up many times when folks we run into talk about Dad, this quality of being so loyal. He once caddied for 17-year-old Danny O'Neill when Dan won the Buffalo District Championship, 3 years after Dad won. He taught us our hands to be used to bring people up. Our family and our friends want to thank Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame and everyone that made this possible. Many people have reached out to us with funny, endearing, and heartfelt memories of meeting him and playing golf and basketball with him, and we just want to thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you for everything kind.
You were perfect. You were
Okay.
That's awesome.
Thank
You remember my brother Chip? He was the coach of the Y. You and Mary Beth and your brother, and I played basketball. Yeah, that's my brother. And we played basketball with your dad all the time with the Y. And Scott Johnson. Oh, I know it all. Oh yeah. Love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Our next inductee, Brienne Prince Hazelton. As a two-sport athlete at Frewsburg Central School, Brienne excelled foremost on the softball diamond and also was a two-time Chautauqua-Cattaraugus County champion as a swimmer for the Bears. Brianne was no doubt the best softball pitcher in Western New York during her 5-year varsity career at Frewsburg, a team that won 4 Section 6 titles and the 1997 Far West Regional title. Her career pitching record was 83-25. Brianne was a 4-time CCAC Division II First Team All-Star, a 3-time CCAC Division II Player of the Year. She was selected First Team All-Western New York 3 times and was the Post-Journal Player of the Year 3 times, and in 1997 was named All-Western New York Pitcher of the Year. In her senior year, she was named Class C First Team All-State. Her many high school honors gained her a Division I scholarship to play softball at St. Bonaventure University. During her first fall season at St. Bonaventure, she was the number 2 pitcher for the Bonnies, with a record of 3-1 with a 1.50 ERA. But just before the spring season began, she noticed an unexplained cancerous mass on her shoulder. Never one to suffer a defeat, Brianne's undeniable determination and never give up attitude prevailed through her treatments, and by the grace of God was able to resume her softball career at St. Bonaventure. Over the next 3 years, 2000 to 2002, she made 58 appearances, had 40 complete games and 16 victories. In 2010, Brianna was hired to take over the head coaching job at Forestville Central School as a softball coach. During her 15 years of coaching, she has recorded 134 wins for the Hornets and guided them to 3 Section 6 Class D championships and a Far West Regional title in 2025. She has been recognized as a 3-time Divisional Coach of the Year, and in 2025 was named Post-Journal Coach of the Year and the All-Western New York Small School Coach of the Year. I am pleased to introduce Brianne Prince Hazelton as a 2026 inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening. It is an incredible honor to stand here tonight and be inducted into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. When I look around the room and at my fellow inductees, I am humbled and deeply grateful to join such a group of talented athletes. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my family, back there, to my parents, Tim and Kim Prince. Your love and support is the foundation for all my success. You drove me to countless practices and pitching clinics all over the Northeast, cheered me on through wins and losses, and taught me the importance of integrity and hard work. I would like to give an extra thank you to my dad for pushing me to work hard and encouraging me to be the best. Even when I did not want to practice, he would persuade me to lace up my cleats and head outside. He would sit on a bucket and catch pitch after pitch through bruised shins and broken fingers, so that I could perfect my pitches. I didn't enjoy it back then, but it sure paid off. Dad, you gave me the greatest gift anyone could ever give another person. You believed in me. To my boys, Max and Jack, your support and sacrifices have allowed me to pursue this dream. Thank you for being so understanding if I had to miss your baseball game because I was coaching a softball game at the same time. I am so proud of you both and the young men you have become. I love you. I would like to thank my coaches, John Blanchard, Chuck Leichner, Bruce Johnson, who's here tonight, Mike Threehouse, and of course my dad. You taught me how to handle pressure and how to be resilient during tough game situations. You also showed me it was possible to really enjoy the game and have fun while winning. Thank you to my teammates. I was only as successful as the team behind me, and I was incredibly lucky to have such talented athletes playing alongside me all those years. Thank you to my Forestville players, some are here tonight. Thank you for trusting me and working hard day in and day out. I have so many great memories, especially from our trip to the state tournament this past June. I will never forget that bus ride out of town when the entire school district and members of the community lined the streets to wish us good luck. I appreciate you letting me be a part of your lives. Lastly, thank you to all my friends and family, including my brother and sister and grandmother, who supported me over the years. I wouldn't be standing here today without your love and support. Tonight, my heart is full of gratitude and my mind is reflecting on the lessons the game of softball has taught me, such as discipline and teamwork. But perhaps the greatest lesson of all is perseverance. Whether it was bouncing back after an injury or losing the big game, softball taught me how to pick myself back up and try again the next day. I couldn't just quit after a loss or after giving up a big hit. My teammates and coaches were counting on me. And after years of playing in high-pressure games, my resilience was put to the ultimate test during my freshman year of college. It was the beginning of spring training, and my pitching shoulder was constantly aching and sore, so I went to the team doctor for evaluation. They sent me to the hospital for some routine testing, and after a CT scan, the doctor came into the room and said that I had a tumor in my chest. A few days later, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I remember sitting in my hospital bed when the doctor told me the news, and I turned to him and asked him, "Will I ever play softball again?" He laughed, and he said, "Yes, you will, but it's going to be a long road. You should be able to play next season after chemotherapy and radiation treatments." Throughout that next year, doctors and friends kept commenting on how strong I was physically and mentally, and I couldn't help but think about how softball contributed to this fight. My heart was in great shape from pitching, so I was able to handle the medicine. My body was strong from all the hours in the gym, so it could tolerate the side effects, and my attitude remained positive, no matter how sick I felt. I knew I would beat this disease, and I attribute this mindset to all the years of being a fierce competitor in sports. This leads me to the message I have for all the athletes here tonight. Talent may get you noticed, but perseverance will carry you further than you think possible. There will be seasons that test you, games that break you, and moments that make you question whether you have anything left. In those moments, remember that your strength is not measured by how hard you throw, or how fast you run, or how far you hit the ball. Your strength is measured by the thing that's deep inside each one of us, the thing that was forged by the many challenges, discouragements, setbacks, and victories. The thing inside us that says, keep going, move forward, put on your cleats and try again. If there's one thing that you take away from tonight, it is that sports have prepared you for life. You will survive the hard things. You will have another opportunity to reach your goal, and there will always be people who love you and support you. Cherish them. Softball gave me more than great memories. It gave me courage and strength. It taught me teamwork and leadership, but most importantly, how to persevere during life's challenges. I hope everyone in this room tonight has had the privilege of loving a sport the way I have loved softball and the way that it has loved me. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Wow, stay here, great. Wow,
Thank you.
you got me. You got me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here, let me give you your stuff.
That was awesome. That was so awesome. Go Bonnies. I went there too. Oh, you did? I love you. Good job.
A 1991 graduate of Faulkner Central School, Trevor Hitchcock was an outstanding three-sport athlete for the Golden Falcons, excelling in football, basketball, and his signature sport of track and field. During his high school career, he was named Post-Journal First-Team All-Star in all three sports. It was in track and field where Trevor would shine the brightest. From '89 to '91, he won both the discus and shot put throws during the Chautauqua County Championship meets and competed in the New York State Championships, finishing 6th and 5th. Following high school, Trevor took his track and field talents to Fredonia State. He was a 9-time State University of New York Athletic Conference champion. He won the weight throw in 93, 94, 95, the hammer throw 93, 94, and 95, the discus throw in 93, and the shot put title in 93 and 94. He was named a 6-time New York State track and field champion, competing in both indoor and outdoor track seasons for his efforts, was named an NCAA Division III All-American. Trevor was inducted into the SUNY Fredonia Athletic Hall of Fame in 2000. Not being able to escape the world of athletics, Trevor began his coaching career at Jamestown High School, working as the head coach for the freshman football team from 96 to 2012, the assistant track coach in 96, and then was the head track coach for the Frewsburg Bears from 97 to 98, and finally served as an assistant track and field coach for his alma mater, Fredonia State, for 2 years. He is still staying active in the sport of track and field, working as a certified official for the Southwestern chapter of the New York State Track and Field Officials. I am pleased to introduce Trevor Hitchcock as a 2026 inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. It's really humbling to be selected to the Hall of Fame. I want to congratulate my fellow inductees on your incredible achievements, as well as the student athletes that are being honored here tonight. I'm very fortunate to share this moment with all of you. I'd also like to express what a profound honor it is to be inducted alongside Dr. Carl Englert Jr. and Mr. Daniel Wolf. Their contributions to our community and to the legacy that lives on in their sporting careers will never be forgotten. I'd like to first thank everyone involved in the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame for this amazing privilege. I'm very honored and grateful for this incredible recognition. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame, into this esteemed Hall of Fame, is a dream come true. As a young man growing up in Jamestown, many a weekend night was spent walking through the Chautauqua Mall, and I always made a point to stop into the Hall of Fame and look at all the memorabilia hanging on the walls. Tonight, I join those other extraordinary athletes. As I enter the Hall of Fame, I take so many people with me, my family, my coaches, my teammates, and my friends. All of you have played an important part in my life and in this journey. I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my family, my mother, Diane, who's always been one of my biggest supporters, and I'm so happy she's here tonight to share in this award. My beautiful wife, Karen, whom I met during my senior year of college and has been my rock for the past 30 years. Karen and I also have raised 2 amazing sons, Dominic and Clayton, who are both here tonight, along with Dominic's wife, Krista. Thank you, Dominic and Clayton, for being such wonderful and great sons. I've enjoyed every step of our journeys together, and I so look forward to everything to come. I'd also like to thank my sister and her family for being here tonight, and for my father, who's not here tonight, Jim, for his encouragement and support. I'd also like to take a moment to thank my coaches and teammates that I've had throughout my career. Having great coaches is how this amazing journey began for me. At Faulkner High School, Coach Bill Race and Coach Bill Davenport and their entire staff were instrumental in teaching me toughness and grit. Many don't realize the amount of planning, preparation, time, and emotional support coaches provide to their players. Years later, it still resonates within me. In basketball, Coach Denny Mazzaros and Coach Ernie Strickland were such great coaches and made my time on the hardwood special. And finally, one special coach whom I will forever be grateful for all of his time and dedication to me and to the sport of track and field at Faulkner High School, Coach Lucian Ledestro. I began working with Coach Ledestro with him in 7th grade. I learned a lot from Coach Ledestro, but more importantly, I learned to never give up. This led to my success in high school. We remained friends after graduated, and he spoke often to each other. He passed a few years ago, but he will always be remembered by me, and I wish he was here tonight to celebrate this special achievement. As a freshman at Fredonia State, my track coach, Jim Ulrich, became a very important person in my life. I had never thrown a hammer before, but that didn't matter to Coach. Coach Ulrich believed so much in me that I went forth and conquered the hammer throw, and I became a 4-time All-American and a national champion. To work on our spins at the school, Coach would have us use large push brooms to simulate holding a hammer, and as we spun, we would whip the broom through, all the while working on making tight spins and quick feet. I spent many hours watching videos of my spins, technique, and watching Olympic throwers on the old VHS tapes. As a college athlete, you need a lot of fuel to keep up with all the practices, meets, and traveling. And one thing I will remember during my time at Fredonia was all the food that we consumed while we trained and while we traveled. Coach Ulrich, who during his college days was also an All-American at Indiana University in the javelin throw, was still a thrower at heart. And we ate like throwers wherever we traveled. After most meets, we normally found a Ponderosa to eat at. You remember Ponderosa, the all-you-could-eat restaurant found in most cities in the 90s. Well, we ate there a lot. And let me be honest, we ate there probably once a week. But one year after winning the state meet during my junior year, Coach took us to Red Lobster. It was an all-you-could-eat crab leg night. Let's just say we're not allowed back at that Red Lobster ever again. We made mountains of shells that night. After college, I embarked on coaching, and I would like to thank Wally Hucknow and his football staff for taking a chance on a brand new, fresh out of college young man to help coach the Jamestown High School freshman football team. I went on my first coaching trip to Penn State and got to meet Joe Paterno and Steve Spurrier. I spent 17 years coaching at Jamestown High School, working with the freshman team. 10 of them I spent as an assistant to Dan Massey. After coaching, I joined the Southwestern Track and Field Association as a track official. I've now been a member of this association for the past 13 years. A few years ago, our president at the time and a close friend of mine, John Lombardo, passed. John, as a young man, had also been a former thrower at Falconer. Tom Priester, our vice president for the association, approached me and asked me to think about running for president, and I'm so glad that I did. Tom, you are an inspiration to officials everywhere. For those of you who don't know this, Tom just celebrated his 50th year of officiating this past spring, and as the president, I had the honor of presenting him his 50th year pin for New York State. That was the first 50-year pin he'd ever given out, and I got to give it to Tom. So, Tom, you're a great friend and a role model to many. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of my friends, all of my officiating friends that are here tonight, and also for the opportunity to continue as the president of their association. In addition to my coaching and officiating, I have been also a teacher for the Jamestown Public Schools for the past 30 years. I've discovered that success isn't just about individual achievement, it's about collaboration, the bonds we forge, and the impact we have on each other. To our young athletes tonight, remember that you're only as good as you practice. When you practice at full speed, you play at full speed. Your high school careers are short, so put everything you have into those practices and games, listen to your coaches, and do your very best in school. In closing, as I accept this honor, I hope to inspire others to follow their dreams and pursue their passions. We all have the power to make a difference, no matter how big or small. Let's continue to lift each other up and strive for greatness together. Once again, thank you for this incredible honor. Getting to this moment has been a wonderful ride, and I'm so excited about what lies ahead. Tonight, let's celebrate our shared achievements and look to the future with hope and enthusiasm. Thank you.
Very well done, Trevor.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Awesome speech, buddy. Thank you. That was really good. Love it. Appreciate it.
We continue on with the sport of track and field. A 1974 graduate of Southwestern Central School, Brian Hull, was a four-year letterman for the Trojans and one of the best runners in Chautauqua County. Many coaches in Chautauqua County said that Brian's mental and physical preparation made him a winner at the county, sectional, and state level in both cross-country and track and field. In cross-country, Brian was undefeated in both his junior and senior years and set 11 course records on his way to being named Chautauqua County and Section 6 champion in both 72 and 73, and being named a Class C New York State champion in 74. His final cross-country race, his senior year, saw Brian finish fourth in the National AAU Championships. For the Trojans track and field team, he was named a 3-time Chautauqua County champion and a 4-time Section 6 champion in both the 1-mile and 2-mile races. His senior year culminated with Brian placing his name in the Southwestern Track and Field record book in 3 individual events and 4 relay events. He won his second Class C New York State Championship, winning the 2-mile race, and thus became the first Chautauqua County athlete to win 2 state championships in 2 different sports in the same year. Following high school, Brian spent a short time at Miami University and then transferred to Cedarville University in Ohio, where he finished second in the All-Ohio Cross-Country Meet, which featured every college and university in the state of Ohio. While attending Cedarville, he became an NAIA All-American in cross-country and a 3-time All-American in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Brian is a member of the Southwestern Athletic Hall of Fame and was elected to the Section 6 Hall of Fame in 2014. And tonight, I am pleased to introduce him as a 2026 inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, Brian Hull.
I got all my notes right here. First thing I want to say is I grew up obviously in Lakewood, New York, and I turned 70 this year. I haven't been back to live in the area for decades. What a beautiful place this is. But when you're a kid, it's just home. But man, when I look at the lake, and we swam every day down there in the summertime, what a beautiful place. It's such an honor. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, board, for allowing me this honor and this privilege after all these years. Thank you for your dedication and paying attention to detail. My wife is a secretary, so when Randy would call, she'd make sure that I did everything I was supposed to do, and I think I got everything in on time. Obviously, you can tell by looking at me, I have not done any running for quite a while. I have a little arthritis in my knees now, and I like to eat too, and I remember Ponderosa very well. But when I was running 10, 15 miles a day, I could burn those calories off. No longer. Anyways, it's a great honor. I want to say thank you to my teammates. As most of you know, one of the things about playing sports, the camaraderie you have with your teammates, the friendships you develop, going out to the restaurants and eating after. I just remember many times coming home on a Friday night from a cross-country race, and we'd walk down to McDonald's, get our McDonald's, and hurry back so we could watch Friday night football. Our teammates were playing and classmates were playing football, and we loved that. That was such a great thing. When I started coaching, they played football Saturday afternoon, and it just wasn't the same. And I don't know how it is now. Maybe that's how they do it. But I want to thank my teammates. Jerry Mara was a great teammate of mine. He was kind of my idol. He was a year older than me. He passed away just recently, and he was a great runner. I learned so much from him and just watched the dedication, and that helped me. Mark Swanson was another one of my teammates that meant a lot to me. Kevin Adderman, who's here tonight, was one of my teammates, same class as me, and it was his job to take care of the 880, and it was my job to take care of the mile and the 2 mile, and we did our best at that. Competing against Fredonia, they had great teams, and we did everything we could to try to beat them, and didn't happen too often, but there were a couple times where we did get them. And that was a thrill, obviously, to do that. Of course, I want to thank my coach. Tom Priester was my coach. I was blessed to have him. And I know he wasn't a runner. He played soccer, and I know at times he wasn't sure maybe what to do with me, but he did a great job. He planned the workouts and was so dedicated. Sue, thank you for letting him go all over the place on Saturdays and not being home with you. One of the things that happened, we weren't allowed to take I couldn't take myself to New York City to run in the Eastern States. So Coach, he took the whole team. And so we all went just so that I could run and compete, and that was fun, and just all the different things that we had. Thank you so much. Coach, he just meant everything to me. And I told him last night we went out for dinner, and, he was probably the biggest influence on my life besides my dad. And he demanded excellence from not only me, but everybody on the team. And It didn't matter if you were the lowest guy or gal, he wanted you to do your best, and I appreciate that. Fran Sirianni also was one of my coaches, and we were talking and laughing last night. He spent many an hours timing my intervals, and he just had a calming way about it, and some of those were hard, and I didn't want to do another one. And he said, "You can do another one or two. You only got two more to go," and was very calm. And so we did it. We got the job done. But it was an honor to have them as my coaches. I appreciate them so much. They're old school, but they're getting older too. So I guess that's why they're old school. But my parents obviously passed away a few years ago. My dad, some of you came up and talked to me. My dad was a teacher for 33 years at Jamestown High School, and he was a character. And talking about golf, we love golf, and man, Dad was the best. He could hit it straight every time down the middle, and we could hit it way past Dad, but we were over here in the woods and over here in the water. We couldn't beat Dad. I never beat Dad until I was 70 years old, and I could play somewhat decent golf. But Dad was so calm. What a good influence. He was a man of wisdom, and all the encouragement that he gave me and the wise things he said to me. And when I won the state cross country title, I won it pretty easily. I kind of knew that I was going to win my race. That may sound a little bit like bragging, but I was pretty confident I was going to win pretty easily. But I wanted to have the best time. I wanted to beat all those big schools and everybody. That was my goal, and I did. But I remember Dad just, he'd watch me. I think one time he did say, "Go." And my brother's there running all over the place. My mother's going nuts and everything like that. But calming influence, and I just want to say thanks to my parents, even though they're not here. Great honor to be here, and I'd kind of forgotten about it. It's been 50 years since I've done any of that kind of stuff, but it's good to be with these other honorees and some of the things and accomplishments that you have done. And once again, a great place to live. I'm so blessed to be here in Chautauqua County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I still
I
remember your dad.
Yeah, he was a character, wasn't he?
He was a character.
I
Thank
had
you.
it for physics.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
If I walk down here, I'll fall.
The name Kerry Kellogg and the sport of baseball go hand in hand, just like peanut butter and jelly. As a player in the 1960s and into the 70s, Kerry excelled on the diamond from Little League years to his time in professional baseball. A student athlete at Southwestern Central School from 70 to 73, Kerry was a four-year starter on both the baseball and football teams for Southwestern. He was also a league all-star pitching on the County Great Belt League baseball team. From 76 to 77, Kerry attended St. Petersburg Junior College in Florida, where he set a school record going 17-4 as a starting pitcher and was named to the all-conference team at St. Petersburg. In 1978, he enrolled at the Division I level University of Florida, where he was used as a top reliever and was named the Fireman of the Year for the Gators his first year at Florida. He then moved into a starting role where he earned 16 starts and was named to the SEC All-Tournament team and was a member of the Gators East Division Championship team. In 1979, Kerry signed his free agent contract with the Montreal Expos, playing in the Class A New York Penn League for 2 years as a starting pitcher. Kerry's next assignment, maybe in hindsight his most important, was enlisting in the U.S. Air Force, where he proudly served our country for 14 years, attaining the rank of Staff Sergeant, all while playing competitive baseball along the way. Following his discharge from the Air Force, Kerry returned to Jamestown, took on the head coaching position at Jamestown Community College. As a head coach, he led the Jayhawks to their first ever Region III title and a spot in the NJCAA Division III World Series in 2004, and was named the 2004 American Baseball Coaches Association Region III Coach of the Year. As a baseball player and a coach, Kerry Kellogg has made his mark in Chautauqua County sports, and I am pleased to have him as an inductee into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2026. Kerry Kellogg.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I too am 70 years old. Can I borrow your glasses? Forgive me for holding this up a little bit too close here, but I'm serious. I'm starting to lose my eyesight. Can I borrow your glasses? My love for baseball started like most young boys in the neighborhood and next to my hi-fi radio. Hi-fi, not Wi-Fi. After a hearty day playing home run derby, I nestled up to my radio and listened to the Yankees on WPIX with Phil Rizzuto. And holy cow, Phil Rizzuto had that down pat. Even witnessed Mickey Mantle hitting a home run in Cleveland. And who doesn't like a Yogi Berra statement? After a ball game, they were talking about where they're going to go out to eat. And a few ball players mentioned a certain restaurant. Yogi said, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. Remember that? I even have a picture with me from 1965, undefeated Yankees, and in the picture's myself and close friend here, Doug Truber. Thanks for coming. We even beat the All-Star team that year. And the following season, George Brown came into my life, although I wasn't ever able to play for George. For some reason, he didn't want me on his team. Anyway, their ball club would go to the Dairy Queen after every game to receive their pay. And if you were the winning pitcher, you got a hot fudge sundae with sprinkles. And I was a post-journal delivery boy at that age. So I had a couple dollars in my pocket, and after the last game of the season, we had won the ball game before George was finished, so I went to the Dairy Queen, and I beat them to the Dairy Queen, and I went inside with my $2, and I walked out in front of all of their ball players with with a banana split with sprinkles, crushed nuts, and I got on my white horse and I rode off into the sunset. The County Great Belt was one of the longest summer leagues in the country. And the umpires that I remembered most was Joe Nelbone, Lyle Parkhurst, and Tony Franchina. And Joe had a high-pitched voice, and I was on the mound at Packard Field, and a foul ball. Joe yelled out, "Hey, Carey, I have no balls." After playing through the ranks of Little League, Line League, Legion, I then entered, of course, Southwestern, and thank you, Coach Ron Frederis. He really changed my baseball career around, taught me the foundations and the fundamentals of the game, and off I went to the next level. St. Petersburg Junior College, although my first year was a red shirt, which means I was injured the whole year and cast on my left arm. And the following year, I finally recovered enough to play again. And after the 2 years I was there, had some success, and a couple of my teammates came through the Jamestown Expos organization and became the GM for the Atlanta Braves, which was Frank Wren. Another teammate at St. Petersburg was the second baseman for the New York Mets, Tim Tuffle. And I have a picture right here with me. And I also have a pretty wild story about traveling, and maybe afterward we'll talk about that with okay. I lost my spot. The last day of spring training in 1978, I was on the mound against the Boston Red Sox, And if you remember in 1978, that was the year they tied with the Yankees, the famous Bucky Dent home run. And the lineup that I faced that day, Jerry Remy, Jim Rice, Carlton Fisk, Carl Yastrzemski, and the list goes on, George Scott. And in the bottom of the fourth inning, we were tied 0-0, so that might tell you how the game was going. In the bottom of the fourth, Jerry Remy, fast little lefty, put down a drag bunt against a pitcher from Lakewood. I had timeout. Hey, come on, let's do this over again. Anyway, that really kind of changed the format of the game. I kind of lost my concentration a little bit in the next batter, Jim Rice. And you can't throw a fastball over the middle of the plate against Jim Rice. That year, he won the MVP. And he wrote an article in the Sports Illustrated about the last game of spring training. Anyway, thank you very much. I was part of that. He hit one. I think it's still in orbit. Actually, he hit another one later in the game. And that was a tough day to walk off the mound in front of a full house in Florida, last day of spring training. I took the tunnel. And when I went to the University of Florida, there was a certain game that I had pitched that no longer occurs today. I started the game and I came out into the 12th inning. Now, if you multiply an average of 15 pitches per game, that doesn't happen today. And the next day, I couldn't comb my hair. I was a reason why they now have a pitch count. Well, it could have been. And later on in that season, I pitched against the LSU Tigers, and slow start, I was able to settle into the game, and no one touched second base after the first inning. We went on to win the ball game. I was awarded on the MVP team, which was quite an honor, and pitching coach came up to me and said, you know, because of this game, we're now going to go to the regionals. I felt pretty proud of myself that day from Lakewood. And we did do well in the regionals. But in 2017, the Florida Gators had won the NCAA tournament, the World Series. And it was quite nice of the booster to send me a hat with the championship World Series and a nice little note. It was through the foundations back in the 1979 and throughout that helped the program along the way. And during that season, in 1979, we had 8 other ball players sign a contract in the minor leagues, which was a pretty good team. We had 2 #1 draft picks, one with the Atlanta Braves and one with the Boston Red Sox. In 1980, well, let me go back to 79. In 1979, Joey Mistretta and I, we went to Wellsville to try out with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Brad Serinke Jr. was the leading individual who ran the camp that day. And after the tryout, both Joey Mistretta and myself did quite well, and we walked up to Brad Serinke Jr. and asked him, what do you think? Can we go on to a minor league contracts perhaps? And Branch Rickey looked at me and said, you would do well in the New York Penn League. Now, I don't know who called who. I'm sure Russ Dietrich was involved. I'm sure Jim Fanning was involved. And of course, Pat Daugherty was a very popular coach, and he was the manager at the time. I had an individual tryout with Pat, and he said, come down tomorrow. And good thing I brought my spikes, and my glove because I signed that day. And he gave me the last hat in the locker room. And he put it on his knee, and he tried to stretch it so that it would fit me. I had a headache after that game. I did get into that game that day, but I don't remember the results. In 1980, off to spring training, I was in pretty good shape and as hard as I had been throwing in a long time because obviously I was free of injuries. And in 1980, in spring training, I was throwing an inter-squad game and I felt something snap in my shoulder. And I never recovered from that injury, and that was basically the end of baseball for me. I knew that season was going to be a long, rough season. And I met someone from the University of Florida coaching staff later that year, and they had seen my scouting report. 2 words in the scouting report, it basically ended my career, quote, unquote, injury prone. So that was the end of my baseball career, and I entered the United States Air Force. I don't think I would ever be released from the United States Air Force, but I spent 14 years, and an interesting subject in regards to being in Germany in the 1980s, we were training every quarter for war against Russia. And sure enough, I spent a trip to Russia in the 2002 season with the New York State SUNY University, over 380,000 students, and we went to Russia, and they were the nicest, most generous people that I've met in a long, long time, and they had people there that would escort us, and they spoke English, and it was the cleanest country that I've been to, even cleaner than Germany. And I was very, very impressed with the people, the environment, and I have no idea why they're supposed to be enemies of us when they treated us so well. They had limousines for us. They gave us the nicest rooms available, and it was just a great tournament. We played against Japan, we played against the Ukraine, we played against Korea. It was a great tournament, and I remember going out in the morning, and the team from Japan, all in the same uniform, would be out in the parking lot doing calisthenics. Unbelievable. Whereas we were still sleeping. Anyway, it was a great tournament, and to think that in my career as a ball player that I got to play in Russia, whereas 10 years before I'm training to go to war against Russia. It's something to think about. Kind of unique. And after I moved back home from the military, I tried to re-establish the program at JCC. And of course, I had my challenges in the beginning with talent. Not too many ball players wanted to stay home and go to JCC. And after a few years, I did get a lot of help from Anthony Barone, who was also a ball player for me, and he came back to become my assistant coach. And it made a big difference to find someone who can mimic your skills and go out and create a successful program. And we had some success, and Anthony, of course, I felt very comfortable turning the program over to Anthony, and he took it over and was very successful, and the sooner the better that I left. Anyway, Anthony, thank you. You owe me some money. Well, after the season of 2001, I had the opportunity to join the Jamestown Jammers, the Atlanta Braves affiliate, a high-class organization. It was a great experience. I'll never forget it. And I still remember many of the ball players who were #1 draft picks and went on for a real nice career. And how ironic, when I signed with the Expos, in the front office was Dan Lanetta, and later on, several years, when my son signed with the Detroit Tigers, in the front office in Lakeland was Dan Lanetta. Surround yourself with successful people. It really does make a difference. And as far as my children being home, thank you very much for coming home. You made a big difference this week. And my oldest son, an Air Force pilot, who's flown many, many missions in the C-17 overseas. There were times he would call me up and tell me where he just delivered the CIA and this and that, and flying into the Afghanistan war. It was nerve-wracking, but I'm glad that he was part of the Air Force. And my second son, who played professional baseball, he is now an attorney in the Army. And so the first thing he did when he became an attorney, he put the house in his name. My daughter's here too. She has her own business in New York. She has her no boss. Imagine that. She takes 3 naps during the day. But all in all, I'd like to thank you folks for, especially you, Randy. You, after my first 3 meetings with you, I canceled my psychiatrist. Thank you.
Terry. Here's some toys. Take them home.
Gary, good job, buddy. Nice speech.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
How are the men from Cardinal Menzetti doing? Cardinal Menzetti High School was a Catholic school in Dunkirk, New York from 1952 to 79 and produced many fine athletes during those years. It has been said that Dan Wolf was the greatest all-around athlete to graduate from Cardinal Menzetti. Dan had no peers that could match his accomplishments, both on the athletic field and in the classroom. Dan had it all. During his years at Menzetti, 65 to 69, he earned 15 varsity letters, 4 in football, 4 in baseball, 4 in track, 3 in basketball. In football, Dan played just about every position during his football career, and the Monarchs recorded a record of 24-5-3. His senior year, he was named to the All-Western New York team, and more impressive, the National Catholic School All-American team. In baseball, he was a 4-year starting pitcher, winning 26 games, helping the Monarchs to 2 league titles. He also played 3 years as a starter for the varsity basketball team and as a member of the track and field team, competing in the 100, the 220, the long jump, the 440, and the long relay team. In every sport Dan competed, he was named a league all-star, securing his legacy of one of Cardinal Menzetti's greatest athletes. And for that, I'm honored to include Dan as an inductee into the 2026 class of inductees into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Here to accept the honor is close family friend Bill Dimmer, along with Dan's sister Mary.
It's good. I have a couple of comments before the prepared remarks. Congratulations to all of the honorees tonight. Frankly, not living here for 30, 40 years, I thought this was a bunch of bowlers. Very surprised, very impressed, these athletes, coaches. You've got hometown heroes, you got marathoners, you got wrestlers, you got 4, 3, and 4-star athletes. Coaches, I'm very impressed. I take everything back that I was thinking about it. I also was impressed by the first guy up here, Kenny. I gotta get with you afterwards, man. I need to know more about that girl looking up at the pole. I need to know more. I'd like to thank the two guys that are responsible for getting me up here tonight, Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. I understand that I'm the only barrier between you and your car keys tonight, but I think Dan deserves a few minutes. I will tell a personal story. I also played in the Great Belt League, Carrie, and not sure whether I met you during that time or not, but I did face Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame honoree, Al Muck. And I like to tell the story that I was 3 for 3 off of Al Muck during that Sunday afternoon. So 35, 40 years later, I'm out at one of the local watering holes in Dunkirk. And my brother Bob says, "Hey, there's Al Muck." So I go over to him and I say, "Al Muck, you probably remember me. I was 3 for 3 off of you. You remember that?" And Al Muck goes, he goes, "Every time I go out somewhere and I run into you guys, my ERA goes down." It was funny as hell. Anyway, it was funny at the time. Good evening. I stand here to recognize and accept into membership Chautauqua County Sports Hall of Fame Daniel Francis Wolf, number 44, at your 44th banquet, by the way. Born August 27, 1950, Fredonia, New York, son of Ed and Claire Wolf. Oldest in the family of 3 children, including sister Mary Kay, here tonight with her husband Steve and their sons Matthew and Lucas, and another sister Amy, who tragically died at the age of 5. This would be one of the first of several adversities Dan would face during his life, the loss of his little sister at a young age. My name's Bill Dimmer. I live in Florida. I'm here because Dan passed away in 2023, and his sister said she couldn't get through this without crying, and I'm not sure I might end up the same. That happens when you're the only surviving member of the family, right? I first met Dan as a freshman at Cardinal Mazzeni, and then during the next 50-plus years together, we were teammates, we were classmates, we were roommates. We traveled together, we painted houses together, we created and operated the world-renowned Frisbee Fling at the Chautauqua County Fair, initially for profit, mostly for beer money. We were golf partners. Most importantly, we were friends. And that last part encompasses a whole lot of people because he had friends everywhere of all kinds. After elementary school at Fredonia's St. Joseph's, his family moved to Dunkirk, and he attended Cardinal Mazzeni, where he became, in the words of longtime coach Bob Moscato and Hall of Fame member, the greatest athlete the school has ever produced, unquote, and the scene of most of his sporting feats, which qualifies him for recognition tonight. You can read his stats in football and baseball and basketball and track and field. He did everything. He was running back, quarterback, kicker, linebacker, punter, pitcher, hitter, guard, forward, sprinter, long jumper. He did it all. If Mazzeni had a hockey team, he would probably be the center. Dan did it all despite a slender 5'10", 165-pound frame. That was the second of the adversities he would face. A great athlete, but packed into a small, tough body with hidden vulnerabilities. He would have back issues his entire life, mostly brought on by playing the sport that he loved. His later years, he'd have 2 major back surgeries and lived with multiple pins and screws throughout his spine. At that stage, golf was his only real sporting outlet, and he played it with reckless abandon. And by that, I mean a healthy dose of vulgarity with every errant shot. His cursing and string of obscenities following a bad shot were legendary. Birds and rodents would be scared from the bushes and the trees in their lairs just to get out of earshot. I now carry your sandwich in my bag as a remembrance of Dan. No need for a sandwich at Hillview. There's no sand. By the way, if you ever find yourself at the Vineyards, formerly Hillview in Fredonia, we have a respite on Dan's bench, which is on the 9th tee, given by his high school classmates 2 years ago. Dan was unique because he was a great athlete who didn't want fame or recognition. He didn't need it. He competed for the challenge that it offered him, which is why he was so frustrated with his golf game. He'd be mad if he knew we were up here talking about his golf exploits instead of his other achievements. Correction, very mad. As a matter of fact, if you listen closely, you can hear his objections. And if you can hear him, I guess he must still be in purgatory, which for you non-Catholics, that's the place you go for a long wait until your number is called into heaven, which is kind of like the DMV or the Social Security office, but without the eternal happiness part. But it's true, he never basked in the fame or the exploits or the accolades that came with it. He never sought it out. He never acted like he was better than everyone else, even though he was. He'd be reluctant to even attend this celebration tonight. I believe his supporters wanted it more than he did. Dan was once described in the Dunker Evening Observer as a kid who could run like a gazelle. He had a curveball that could strike out anybody, including Dave Crichone, who he rung up a total of 33 times over the years. Now, I was debating whether to leave that part in or leave that part out. But seeing Dave here, I had to leave it in. I made the number up out of whole cloth. But it's still funny, and he'll be sore about it all the way home to Fredonia. So well, because there was a big rivalry between Dave and Dan. So how good was he? Well, like most Dunkirk families, we'd get the Dunkirk Evening Observer at home newspaper during the week and the Courier Express newspaper on Sunday. One Sunday, late in '69, after the football season had concluded, there was a full page in the sports section announcing the all-Western New York football all-stars for both Catholic and public schools. On the all-Catholic side, there was Dan, Player of the Year. On the all-public school side, there was their Player of the Year. Lackawanna High School's Ron Jaworski. Super Bowl winner, Ron Jaworski. Jaws, ESPN personality. Pretty good company to keep. Finally, the last adversity Dan faced was pancreatic cancer. A second major blow to a body which absorbed a lot of hard hits and stretched his performance to the max during his sporting years. Unfortunately, he acquired a cancer which has few symptoms and is nearly almost always fatal, despite modern medicine, despite new treatment options, despite if you're a celebrity and how much money you have, it's a killer. Although he had reached the age of 70 when he was first diagnosed, he still had a lot of life to lead. Finally, if Dan were here tonight, he'd want to stress the guidance and support he got from his coaches and teammates, several of whom are here tonight. It demonstrates the kind of person you are when your teammates from 55 years ago are still showing up for you. You would say that he couldn't have done it without his team. Often during late games or practices, he'd offer the players who lived in Gowanda a place to stay overnight at his house. Come to think of it, he also extended the same offer to some of the Mazzeni cheerleaders. One in particular comes to mind. Without exaggeration, I can say for a guy with as many accolades and accomplishments, he was the humblest guy I knew. He'd be embarrassed by the things said about him tonight and in the program, and the people that came here to support him. Later in life, he became not a hometown hero, but a hard-working painter for Brooks Hospital and later on in business for himself. He was a guy who helped others, whether they needed help moving or painting, or in one particular instance, a friend told me, He rescued a disabled lady from an abusive home situation. Quite a guy. There were always people who owed him money for painting. I just heard about one last night. But he preferred to wait until they remembered a business model that today is practiced nowhere. There's a lot of stories about the exploits of Dan Wolf, but many of them have nothing to do with sports. Bottom line, he was truly a memorable character. His sister, her husband, his nephews, his coaches, his opponents, and his many, many, many friends thank Randy and the Chautauqua County Sports Hall of Fame for Dan's selection. Dan would want to share with his teammates and coaches as well. Special thanks goes to CMHS longtime coach and member of the Chautauqua County Sports Hall of Fame, Bob Moscato, for his tireless multi-year effort to get Dan recognized, and who would have given anything to be here tonight except for health issues. Dan stands proud to be inducted into this organization in his home county where he lived his entire life. Dan lost his last battle on May 30th, 2023, but takes pride in this victory tonight. Wish you were here, man. Congratulations, 44.
As Pastor Creech makes his way back up here to give us our final blessing this evening, I just want to once again congratulate all the inductees this evening. Thank you all for your continued support of the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. And Pastor Creech, come on and send us on our way.
Turn the lights out on myself. That's all right. Friends, it is a true blessing and a gift to compete and participate in sport. It's so much more than winning or losing. Thank you. It's about building character, learning discipline, learning how to persevere, and to embrace community. So thank you all for supporting sport in our community. May you continue to pursue all of your achievements, give 100% of your effort, and be supportive of all the athletes that you know. Now, may God bless you and keep you. May you be humble in victory, gracious in defeat, and may all of your athletic achievements glorify the one who made you and loves you and gives you strength to get back out there again. God bless you. Have a great night.
Thank you again. Please drive safe on your way out. Take your time. We have a large crowd to get out the door, so don't be in too much of a hurry. Good night.